what's up, buddy?
Jay fucking Servedio.
That's the name. Don't wear it out. Hi.
How are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. This is huge. We got fucking good. We got Saratoga water, dude. This is crazy.
We got good water. We got coffee.
Am I on Rogan right now? What the fuck? No.
Nearly the next best thing.
I'm excited, man. This is huge. Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome.
Hell yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm a little pissed off right now at NJ Transit. There was a little bit of a strike by me, and so I had to fucking walk all the way. I walked to my train station in the rain to find out there were no trains coming.
Jesus.
And then I walked back to my house and drove. That's why I was like, fuck, there's a chance I'm late today.
Oh, you drove in? Ah, dude.
It is what it is, dude. Honestly, at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, it's either I was going to pay $16 for train tickets or I was going to pay a $16 toll. So we do what we do, you know?
Well, I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, you know what, dude? I'm fucking happy to be. I was going to be in anyway because we're doing Judy's, the best mic in all of New York City.
There you go. Nice little plug there.
Yeah, there we go.
You'll have to get the boys to sort you out for that one. So, where are you from? You're in Jersey. Have you always been in New York?
So this is a complicated question. I've always told people that I'm like a New York, New Jersey guy. It's because my parents got divorced when I was young, and I split my time between Bergen County, New Jersey, and Rockland County, New York. So where I'm from, the border's like right here, and I'm like a 2-minute walk from New York State. Like 2-minute walk. I could throw a rock into New York if I wanted to.
Jesus.
Yeah, and when my parents split up, all of my family is from Rockland County, New York. So I just split my time between there. So that I've always been kind of a New York, New Jersey guy. I've always been doing both. And since I was in high school, I've been coming into the city to do stand-up. So I've always kind of thought of myself as a New Yorker. I went to college in New York, lived here for 3 years. So like, for all intensive purposes, all intents and purposes. I learned that that's actually the phrase the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like, intensive purpose. That's not a thing. That's not. There's no such thing as an intensive purpose. All intents and purposes. I am a New Yorker. I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice, man. Where'd you go to college?
I went to Pace University in the financial district of Manhattan.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you stay on campus?
I did. I stayed on campus, and I'm still paying it off, baby. Hell yeah.
Dude, tell me, what is that like? Because I was straight into the workforce. I never got to enjoy the college days. And I saw the movies growing up, you know, like the loose parties, the frat houses. And was there any of that?
No. In New York, they tell you that right off the bat. They're like, the city is your campus, which is really just a way to say, we're a fucking real estate agency here, and you're kind of going to get an education. So have fun with that. Have fun drinking in dorms for 2 years. And I'm like, great.
Do you think that's kind of some of the business model of these universities, like land banking? And
not kind of. That is exactly like New York University, 100%. That is their business model. That's like, we're going to just exorbitantly sodomize people with prices. That is it's fucking crazy. But like, that's where the money is. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of wild. Like, I lived on campus for the first year and a half because COVID happened my freshman year of college.
Shit, you're one of those?
Yeah, I'm one of those, dude. I'm one of those. I'm a Zoomer. But that's the thing.
So did you then go home?
Yeah, we went home March of my freshman year.
Dude.
Yeah, it was kind of a bitch.
Okay, so we would live in really weird, parallel lives, but in March, I was in Canada. I was going to fly here the day before the borders all shut.
Okay.
So I was literally going to be fucking here, and COVID fucked me up, and then I had to go home, and I was unemployed sitting at home for fucking 8 months. So like, in a way, I didn't do it didn't affect me the same way you did, but I can kind of relate to like how much that would have sucked.
Well, dude, I'm not even going to lie to you, man. Like, COVID was fucking wild because it's like, you're like, this isn't going to fucking happen, right? You know, I was sitting there like, there's no way they're going to shut everything down. You know what I mean? I have to go to school. Like, I have to do college. There's no way.
To learn.
Trump isn't going to shut the fucking country down. I have things to do. I don't care that you're at risk. I have an essay due on Thursday. That's fucking crazy. But yeah, they did that. They shut the country down, which is nuts and kind of nice. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I actually, I kind of enjoyed COVID. I know a lot of people died, but I got to hike, you know, so that was nice. That was a good time for me, at least. Did you have fun in Canada in lockdown? How was that?
I wasn't in Canada, so I came home.
Sorry, you went to Australia.
The Australian government did it. Let me get rid of that.
No, you're good.
Okay,
you fucking...
I actually didn't mind COVID. So my family, my auntie and uncle have a beautiful beach house on the beach.
That's huge.
On like a really nice coast in Queensland, and I like lived there for like 5 months.
Dude, that's
by myself.
That's sick.
It was the fucking best, dude.
That's huge. I was just like camping and hiking the whole time because I was like fucking dude. I got into like meditating and shit like that. I was like a nervous wreck almost all of high school, and so I was like, let's figure this out, you know. And then I decided to like let's kind of reconnect with nature a little bit, and I was like living outside of the city after living in the city for like 8 months. I was like, oh, this is way fucking better, dude. I like being able to touch grass and not having to worry about like everything and everybody in the same space at the same time all the time. So I mean, like, it's nice. I do miss living in the city because it's the fucking best, dude. It's like you can just go from mic to mic to mic to mic to mic, especially as a comic. It's like there's nowhere else like New York. But I also know that like if I had to be here every day again, I would kill somebody. It might have been the United Health CEO but the job was done. So there's nothing for me to worry about now. I can say this into a camera and a microphone now.
Well, thank God for that.
Thank God for. Thank you, Luigi's Mansion. That means a lot.
That was wild, man. Yeah. So you still passed. You still went through university. Yes, you just missed a year living on campus. You did your last 3 years at college.
At college.
And you finished. You got a degree.
Got a degree.
In?
America's favorite major, film. And naturally, like all film majors, I worked in a warehouse after college. So that, you know, that's not even in the film industry. It was just, you were a carpenter. No, you were an electrician, right?
Electrician, yeah.
Yeah, so I worked as like a non-union kind of, I did basically everything, man. Like I did customer service. I built shit sometimes as a like a non-union carpenter guy. I did like supervising of union labor and shit like that at the Javits Center. I always told people like I don't know what my job. This joke. I'm like I don't know what my job was. I just know what I did. I built. I always tell people I was a carpenter and a customer service rep. So I built cabinets and relationships. So those are the two things that I do. All cabinets and relationships.
Those jobs are oftentimes some of the most like instrumental jobs of your life.
Oh, yeah.
Because you just get exposed to different things. You get exposed to different people
100%.
And you just learn. You learn what the real world is finally all about.
Oh, yeah, dude. You got to work with so many horrendous people on a day. Like when you work like a people job as opposed to like an entertainment job, it's like it's just the worst kind of people.
Especially unskilled jobs. So, you know, if you... In my trade, for example, the boys are fucking awesome because everyone's taken their time. They've done the training. It's 4 years and then you're qualified. But then it takes a long time to just get better. And you work with experienced people and it's a pleasure. But when you're in these industries and you're just with people that are fresh out of university or don't really give a fuck or they just like the customer relations dude, you're just like, you're working with kind of shit cunts.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
No offense if you're a shit cunt.
No,
it's your right to be a shit cunt.
Shit cunts are awesome.
We love you.
We love you.
The world needs you.
I kind of feel like, are you IBEW? Are you a International Brotherhood of Electric Workers? Are you a union or no?
Union at home. I'm
okay. So
yeah,
gotcha.
not at the moment.
Gotcha.
But I'm very pro-union.
I almost said in Australia, but in the accent. And I promised you before the podcast, I was like, I'm going to be the guy who doesn't do it.
I want to hear it.
In Australia. No. You been to Perth? You been to Perth before? Fuck it. That was a quick L. Thank you.
Okay.
I had a boss and I had an internship. I worked for a production company and she was from Perth. And
nice.
She not a day went by where she wasn't talking about Perth. So I was like, all right. Actually. But
I need to learn my American accent.
It's really not that difficult. I promise you. You just got to like, if you could sound retarded, that's what we sound like. You know what I mean? New Yorkers, I feel like, can you just give me a coffee? Can you
give me a coffee?
Coffee.
Give me a coffee.
There we go.
Give me a coffee.
You're getting there. They always say that like Australians and British folks are actually better at doing American accents than Americans are at doing British and Australian accents.
For my act outs in the future, it would just be so much more funny if I could do the American accent.
You got to do it, man.
Yeah.
You got to get there. Just watch a lot of fucking like Clint Eastwood movies and you'll get there, I think.
Done.
But you were saying earlier before I rudely interrupted.
No, I'm going back to you. So
Oh, my bad.
we finished, you finished uni, you worked in the warehouse. What did you do then? And were you doing comedy in the city at this time?
So-
and were you living at home? Give me the picture.
So I was before college and then after college, I was living at home.
Mm-hmm.
I started, the first time I ever did stand-up, I was 16 years old. And I kind of put a hiatus on that when I was around 19. COVID happened. I was like, this is the excuse for me to like focus. My goal, like in college, was to be like a writer for television and film. I like really wanted to do that. And then after 3 years of like studying it and like really fucking perfecting my craft, I realized I do not want to do that. Like I love comedy, man. I really do. And that's kind of what I want to do career-wise, is that, and kind of a little bit of publishing. I know you're an author. I want to do the same thing.
We'll talk about that. But within the film industry, so within the film degree, are you filming? Are you writing? What are you doing?
So I focus. My concentration was screenwriting, and I was writing all the time. I kind of pride myself on my ability to just sit down and like, this wasn't the case before college. I hated sitting down and writing anything, but like the minute I got to like my freshman year of college, I was like, oh, it's going to be infinitely easier if I just kind of lock in and like start getting rid of the shitty stuff. I could start writing good stuff. You know what I mean? And I worked at it. I mean, like I put my 10,000 hours in when I was in college, dude, like 100%. I was like denying going outside and shit like that. And 100% just fucking locked myself in my room and with pen and pad made it happen.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted to get you on, is you're an incredible writer.
I appreciate that,
You're an
man.
amazing performer, but I've seen the discipline of your writing and the way you do. You handwrite most things, is that correct?
That is correct. You flatter me.
And then you do that, and then you rewrite it, and then once it's perfect, you then put it on your small notepad, and that's what you take up on stage. But it's very methodical and it's very thought out, and the way that you then do the act each time, you fucking hit it every single time.
I appreciate that.
So whatever you're doing is fucking working.
It means a lot. I'll keep it $150, Cam. Like I just kind of that's kind of one of the gifts that I guess I got out of like the film school thing, was that I like something to tell you in when you're writing, when you want to be a screenwriter, is that it's like none of the words matter. You hear like cut your darlings constantly. It's like nobody's going to read the screenplay. They're going to see the final product, shot, edited. That's what people are going to see. Nobody's going to look at the screenplay. So you kind of learn like the importance of not only like word economy, because I was also like an English and creative writing minor. So I was like, there was this juxtaposition of like, none of your words matter and all of it fucking matters at the same time. And I kind of got like, oh, like they do matter, but you have to be okay with like getting rid of everything, burning the boats, and kind of like killing your darlings every single step of the way if you're ever going to make something kind of worthwhile. And I figured that something I see like not only a lot of young comics, but like people who are like film students who want to be screenwriters and fucking novel. And I'm not worth my fucking, the weight of my name in salt. Like I'm fucking not worth shit. This is just as a guy who's like been doing it at the amateur level a lot and for a very long time, is that like people think that like their idea of a thing, if it's good, is better than like a shitty, polished, done version of the thing. The shitty thing that exists is way better than the amazing idea. Every single time, and it took me like years.
Break that down to me.
What I mean by that?
Yeah.
So like people will be like, oh, I have this incredible idea for a movie, but I just haven't written it yet. As opposed to like writing the shitty script.
Of course, because you've done the work now.
Because when you have a shitty script, you can rewrite it and make it a good script and continue to rewrite it until it's an amazing script. Or you can learn how to do that with horrible ideas until you finally have a good idea that's executed into an excellent script. Or same thing with a comedy routine or a joke or a book or a novel or a short story, whatever have you. And so many people fucking refuse to just sit down and write the fucking thing out. And like, I was one of those guys for such a long time, man, seriously. And the greatest gift I think I've ever given myself is like being like, none of what this is matters, because that's not the final product, and it probably will never be the final product until somebody else dictates it as that, either by a laugh or a publisher or an editor or whatever, you know what I mean? But you kind of have to treat everything as a draft and just be okay with murdering your babies, you know? That's
It's interesting. I've got a triplet brother, and
I didn't know you were a fucking there's a third one. There's a third one, everybody. Holy shit.
she's a girl, so
Oh my God.
And he went to university. He studied vet, but now he's a vet surgeon.
Yeah.
But he was very similar to me. Like we're sort of like outdoor kids, sort of ADD kids. It was very hard to get us to sit down.
Resonate with that 100%.
But he sort of conquered that thing in university as well that you said. Like he just gave himself the gift of like, fuck it, if I don't do this, I'm gonna fucking fail. And now he's very studious. Like he can sit down and just do work. And for me, it's still very difficult. It's very difficult to sit down, stay focused for long periods of time. I'm getting better, but it's awesome. What you've said is like verifies to me that you can learn it. It's just a learned skill. Like
well, you have to teach yourself, dude. That's the thing that people I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
it's just like
keep going.
I mean, I had severe ADHD as a kid, and I still do. I mean, like the thing is, like a lot of people, like my girlfriend's a SLP, right? She's a speech language pathologist, so she teaches kids how to like speak and shit. And she does a bunch of other stuff, but I'm saying like one of the things that we were talking about was she was like a conversation about like, what do you think I should do with it? You know, not a specific person, but like in general, you have ADHD. What do you think would be helpful with kids going forward? I'm like, talk to them, ask them questions, and let them know that like the only person who's going to do their work for them is them. You got to you got to fucking keep it real with people. You got to tell people like, hey, you need to have agency in your own life. Because the way that it was described to me as a kid is it was like, this is a pill. You're dumb. It's going to make you not dumb anymore. And everything's going to be fine. And you know what happened? Nothing. I was just high on meth. That was it. No, like that was it. That was it, dude. Like the pharmaceutical industry like wants kids stuck on like Concerta and like Ritalin and Adderall. And I was on 72 milligrams of Adderall at the age of 12.
Jeez.
Till I was 17. And one day I realized like I was just shaking, and I went in for my blood pressure to my doctor, and he was like, oh yeah, you're 138/84. I'm like, I was a twig in high school. I was 135 pounds, dude. My blood pressure should not have been that high. So I'm like, I want to get off this shit. A month later, it's 116/64, dude.
There you go.
We should not be on this shit. And I'll tell you right now, dude, the minute I was like, I have to take my focusing into my own hands, I did it. We're not taught to like make routines for ourselves or make systems for ourselves so that way we can focus, so we can write, so we can study or whatever. We're just taught to kind of like, hey, this is a thing that's going to fix your symptoms, as opposed to like, how do we get rid of the root cause? And like being able to teach myself discipline is the only way that I've gotten to the point where I could, you know, as kindly as you put it, like write somewhat well. And that to me is like, even more so than writing well, I'd say that the most important thing to me is that I have a process for myself where I can at least get results eventually. You know what I mean? Because there's guys in the scene like Mike Minari writes a joke off the cuff and it's fucking amazing. You know what I mean? You've seen me, it takes me like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times before I'm like, that's the thing.
Now it's fixed.
And it's like, that's it. And it's like, it's okay. Like sometimes that's a problem. You got people who are like Mozart who can like first draft is what it is. And then there's Beethoven's who like on the 75th attempt, they fucking nail this thing. And like, I've always been like a Beethoven, not a Mozart. You know what I mean?
Incredible, dude. I love that. So
thank you.
So you're not on any of the meds now for the ADHD?
Oh no, dude. I mean, the only thing that I take like some supplements. I'm like on like Alpha Brain.
yeah.
Hey, Joe Rogan. But I mean, like that kind of helps, that Alpha GPC stuff. But like, I'm not on that every day. You know what I mean? And like, I'll take like fish oil every now and then. But like, you know, I'm not on anything that you can't get over the counter. You know what I mean?
I mean, I've been prescribed the dexamphetamine for ADHD. I very rarely take it. I didn't actually get diagnosed with ADHD until I was like 29.
Really?
Yeah. I read an article, and it explained, it was someone's story about how they got diagnosed late with ADHD. I think they were like maybe in their 40s. And it was one of those moments where the penny just dropped. I was like, all the issues that they were saying that they had in their life. I was like, that was me. That was me in school. That was what the teachers used to say to me. That was what my report cards used to say every fucking time. But I, as I said, I rarely take the medication, but it did, just knowing that I was like that, that helped. It helped clarify things because sometimes you kind of feel fucking stupid.
Dude, 100% Like, I gotta focus on staying in the mic. There we go. Talk about focus. But like, that's the fucking thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that it's like, when I talk about like, oh, you don't need, like, I'm not saying like you don't need the medication. Obviously it helps. But what the problem is that it's like, we're just throwing pills at kids and we're telling them like, you don't need a system. You don't need a process by which you need to ground yourself and find a way to focus and do shit. And it's like, if we're just throwing things that are supposed to cure symptoms, as opposed to like, we're throwing that at people as opposed to like helping them find steps by which they're supposed to navigate their own life. It's like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Now you just got a kid on drugs, you know?
Yeah, you're not putting any toolkits in their quiver to draw back from.
Because at the end of the day, that's what these medicines are, right? They're supposed to be a tool.
Yeah.
They're supposed to be a tool. They're not a cure. They're supposed to be like a lens through which you can look at things a little bit better.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, man. I know, I'll tell you this. I took one thing of Adderall back in college. I took like a 20 milligram, or it was like a 27 milligram pill. For whatever reason, they're broken up into 9s. And I didn't feel anything. And my friend was like, I would be tweaking right now. You got to understand. And it's like, fuck it. I got that fucking dog. You know what I mean? Like, the amount I was taking should have been able to kill a horse. But no, it's...
Jesus.
It's fucked, man. It's fucked.
My wife has, she takes Adderall every now and again if she's got a bit of stuff on, and it fucking works, that stuff. Like, you're in it. Like, if you're just like, there is nothing else but this moment, and all I'm gonna do in this moment is work.
Oh, dude, yeah, 100%. But the problem is, like, I wasn't an adult. I was a kid on this shit, so I was just like, I'm just gonna be a cunt to people. You know what I mean? Like, that was like, how you doing, man?
Ryan's here, everybody. The big producer, Ryan Rizzuti. Say hi, Ryan.
How's it going, everybody? I am in the building. I am only slightly late to the train.
You had the same issue.
Yeah.
Jay's from Jersey as well.
I do fucking, would you NJ Transited?
No, I'm Long Island, so but it's the same sort of bullshit.
Yeah.
That NJ Transit and LIRR are just as like
They're fuck shows, man. They're horrible. Absolutely horrible. I hate it.
Gets a little rainy and they have no idea how to operate.
Yeah.
Fucking atrocious. So Jay, so you started comedy at 16, you crazy motherfucker.
It was kind of an accident, if I'm being honest.
Tell me the story.
I always like to tell this story because I know for a fact that it is the coolest story that anybody has out of how they started comedy. So when I was like 16, I had just turned 16 years old. So I'm coming up on my 8th year of the first time I had done stand-up. And I went to go see Jeff Ross at Caroline's. This is like way before they fucking shut down. This is 2016, towards the tail end of the year. It was like December. And Jeff was like one of my heroes. I love the fucking roast and stuff like that.
I was watching him last night.
Oh, yeah?
Bumping mics.
Oh, yeah?
I fucking
with
love
him and Attell. Oh, it's a great.
Yeah, I love Dave. David Tell's my favorite.
He's such an excellent joke writer.
Yeah.
Man. He really is. But Jeff was in the city. He was at Caroline's, and my stepdad was like, let's go see like a not low level, but like, you know what I mean? Jeff Ross is how we were going to finish the night. We were going to start off by going to like Broadway Comedy Club, where I'm doing a show tomorrow. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
And we went to go watch a show of some, you know, like, but like, it wasn't like it was a nobody lineup. It was like fucking Russ Maneve and Joe List was there when he was still opening for Louis and shit. Like this was like, we're talking about like legitimate heavy hitters, but just not as big of a name as Jeff Ross at the time. And so I say lower level comedy show, but it really wasn't. You know, it's like guys who are working comedians, not like, you know, B-list celebrity like Jeff. So that was super cool. We went to that. Then we go to Jeff at Caroline's. He's a fucking great show. About halfway through it, he's like, does anybody want to come up here and be roasted? I'm going to speed roast people. And I'm 16 years old. I'm like, dude, I'm going to fucking try this. So I put my hand up, and I'm the fucking first person he picks.
Nice.
And I had always kind of like been doing bits and characters and stories and kind of act outs and shit at the lunch table. I didn't even realize I was doing stand up, but I was doing like monologues and routines and shit like that. So I on current events. So that was kind of like always something I'd been subconsciously practicing, and I hadn't really realized it, but because I've been watching comedy since I was like fucking like 10 years old. I all kind of subconsciously had the joke writing structure down in my head. Jeff brings me up, and you know, he goes to roast me, and he's like, you know, what are you doing here? Isn't it past your bedtime? And I'm like, dude, I'll stay up as late as I have to hang out with my homeboy in the striped pajamas. And we fucking went, like, the audience loved that. And we just kind of went at it for a minute. He's like, who are you here with? Like, I'm with my mom and my stepdad. He's like, point out your family. And I point him out, and Jeff's like, dude, I want to fuck your mom. And it was just, and so it was kind of funny, but we had a great rapport for like back and forth for like fucking 5 minutes. And he's still got a full stage of people he's got to get to. So he's like, you want to help me roast these guys? I was like, abso-fucking-lutely. And so I'm going down the line, you know, just being racist because it was 2016. But like, but I'm 16 years old, so nobody gives a fuck. So it's like Jeff and I'm roasting people with Jeff Ross on stage. And after like 10 minutes of that, he's like, what do you want to do when you get older? I'm like, I want to be a stand-up comedian. He's like, do you have any time written? I'm like, kinda. He's like, do you think you'd feel comfortable doing 5 minutes for all of us here at Caroline's? And I went up and I did 5 fucking minutes. I got a standing ovation at Caroline's. And I was like, after that, I was like, there is no excuse for me not to be doing this right now. Wow. And I have been bombing ever since. But
dude, you started in the most incredible way I've ever heard.
Dude, I promise you that I probably would have been procrastinating to this day. Like, oh, I'll get around to it eventually. If that had not happened, that was kind of like a grace from God moment. So yeah, thanks, Jeff, for starting this big nothing burger that is my career. I appreciate it.
Jeff Ross, you're welcome on the podcast anytime.
Anytime. Yeah, come fucking let's do this again, man. Let's at some point. But yeah, there's actually like a post of me on his Instagram from that day.
Please share it
to you after. Yeah, I'll show it after. We could put it in the show notes if you guys would like to see it. We'll link it in the show notes. But
there aren't really any show notes. We're not there yet. We're not that kind of podcast yet, Jay.
We'll get there.
We will be.
That's
another few years.
That's the first time I did stand up. I did a open mic for the first time then the week after, and you know, I did that solidly until COVID. From, you know, in high school till my freshman year of college, about halfway through, and then took about a fucking year break. And then I was like casually doing a mic like once a month, once every 2 months. But I wasn't like taking it seriously because I was trying to do the whole screenwriting thing. And I graduated college and I was like, this was a fucking complete waste of my time. And so for the last 2.5 years, I've been kind of beating the pavement again of trying to get back into it and regain the traction I lost, because that's the real thing that I beat myself up on, is like I should have never stopped, because I am. The weird thing is about it though, Cam, I'll keep it straight, is like I was a boy and now a man with like lower confidence level and a completely different fucking perspective on the world. And I'm like, I wish I still had the fucking nuts I had when I was like a kid, you know?
Welcome to my world, John. Jesus Christ. The biggest battles I have are the mental battles, and I am such a cunt to myself, I tell you.
Nobody's going to be your bigger critic than yourself, dude. Yeah. If you're not, you're doing it wrong,
yeah.
You know?
So I think it was going to happen whether you like it or not. And I also think having that break hasn't set you back. It's made you better.
I appreciate it.
And it's given you life perspective, and yeah, you are a man now. It's much more enjoyable watching a grown man make someone laugh than it is a kid.
100%, dude. I know for a fact that part of the reason I was like, I actually did well as a comic when I was younger is because it was like it was novel. You know what I mean? It was a fucking boy telling people.
You can do no wrong when you're a sweet baby-faced boy 100%. Making people laugh. Like, there's nothing you can do wrong. It's very endearing. Like, they're going to be like, wow, good on him. Even if you weren't funny, they're going to be like, fucking the nuts on him.
Dude, 5'7", 135 pounds, soaking wet. They could have broken me in half if they wanted to, but they just humored me. It was wonderful. It really was.
Oh, he's cute.
It's just such a fucking adorable human.
So you said, okay, so are you still in the film industry now?
Not in the slightest. I mean, like, it would be nice to.
I've met. Okay, I think that's pretty much everyone that I know in this city, except Ryan. Works in an industry completely unrelated to their university.
Well, the cool thing is now I don't work in any industry because I lost my job. You know what I mean? So,
there you go, guys.
So,
go to university.
So, I mean, that's kind of the last couple of weeks I've been I've been working like since I was like 15, 16 years old. You know what I mean? And now I'm like, I'm going to fucking take the money that I'm owed from unemployment, ride that roller coaster for a little bit. I don't want to like completely mooch off the system, but I do like, while it is a resource that is available to me, I want to use it and try and kind of like
use it to find yourself so you can get into the right role and job for you.
Yeah.
I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Well, I mean, my goal, Cam, is I want to really try and fucking, if I can, within the next 6 months, try and be able to become like a legitimate working comic. You know what I mean? Make like even if it's like $45,000 a year doing this. If it's like whatever, it's fucking 3 or 4 shows a night. If I can do that, that would be my goal.
Keep going, man. You're gonna get there.
So
there's no doubt in my mind you will get there. I don't know when, and if you can do it in 6 months, fucking you beauty. It's just time and work, but you certainly have the skill.
I appreciate
your writing is amazing.
Thank you.
You're a great performer. So, dude, the only thing stopping you is you now.
Yeah, well,
and opportunity.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're not the good thing is that we're becoming in less and less of want of that, because I mean, we got guys in the scene like Harrison and Joe who are like fucking throwing out stage time like it's like it's raining, and they're fucking. We got. I feel like those opportunities are going to start to open up more and more and more, especially because like this has really become kind of like a community fostering type moment. Both his mic and Alex's mic as well. Guys are, what's up, fellas? How we doing? We got some fellas in the window. Yeah, what's up? How you doing? We got guys watching for those of you who don't know, the studio is like literally on a window on what street is this?
Where are we? Orchard Street.
Yeah, Orchard.
It's the coolest fucking setup in the world. You can just watch people shoot podcasts. It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, it's sick. There's got a good view of the New York street, just cars going by. It's cool.
It's fucking sick, man.
Yeah.
You got a cool spot here.
Also kind of behind Cat's Deli. It's like technically it's like the same block as us, but it's just like
It's
right
down
over
the
there.
Yeah, very iconic area.
It's a really cool spot, the LES.
Yeah.
But again, like there's a lot. I think there's going to be a lot more guys putting shows together. I want to get you up on my show at Arlene's at some point soon. Nice. So we got to just keep fostering the community, because every time I go to one of these mics, I just hear the same guys get better and better and better. And it's like, I've been to mics all over the fucking city where it's like guys who sit there, who don't laugh at anything, who don't give a fuck about anybody else's time but their own, and they don't want to show anything to anybody. And the minute you get up there like trying to work something out, if it's not funny, don't laugh. But if somebody has something, it's like, give them a fucking pulse. You know what I mean? And at least dude, we had an audience last night at a fucking open mic.
It was good.
We have an audience at Judy's Eats more often than not. And I'm like, we've actually got the guys that are in this small pocket of the fucking New York comedy scene are making shit happen for one another. And that's a huge thing, man. It's a great thing to be a part of. And especially as a guy who's like, for a long time, I felt like an outsider kind of looking in since I moved out of the city. Now I actually feel like a city comic again, even though I got to commute in. It really is a great thing that we have.
It's great. And there's like a good group of guys that are all very friendly and everyone's helping each other out. And it's awesome. And I think this is the way it's going to be. This is just the way the industry is like. And, Joe said on the first episode of this podcast, like high tide raises all ships.
Yeah, dude.
So
100%. And that's
when you get that Netflix special, I'm opening for you.
Absolutely, dude. We're getting. I really that would be the fucking. That's obviously a great goal to have as a Netflix special. Right now, I'm just like, I want to be a fucking working comic. I want to get my boys up as many shows as possible and refer them to whatever the fuck. And I know that the case is similar with everybody else in the scene. That it's all about, we want to scratch each other's backs and make sure that everybody's getting fed. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. There's a lot of competition in the city. It's pretty hard. It's a grind. So the more we can do to help each other out, the better.
Oh, without question.
So you mentioned before you would do some meditating. Are you still doing that?
Oh yeah, I try to do, if I can only squeeze it in, I try to do 10 minutes a day. But I've gotten to the point where like if I have the time, I can sit down for about like 90 minutes, 2 hours, and fucking just yeah.
And are you out?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like yeah. It's taking practice, dude. But that's the thing. It's like anything else. Like I kind of have the same view that I have about writing about everything I do in my life. It's like the only way I'm going to get better about this is the more that I do it, the more effort that I put in.
Do you freeball it, or are you doing guideds?
So this is the weird thing. I tried guidance for a while, and they're nice. But I've kind of gotten into like transcendental wisdom insight meditate. It's just TWIM shit, like in practicing jhana and shit like that. And that's what I've found has been the most beneficial to both me and my mental state.
Explain that to me.
So TWIM meditation is kind of focused on not just reflection, but like optimism. And so something that it will try and have you focus on either a mantra, and it will have you focus on either that or like people in your life that you care about, smiling and shit like that, trying to get to this elated place mentally.
Something that brings your energy up.
Oh, yeah. And then just fucking maintaining that. So there's these 6 R's. It's like recognize, when you have a distraction, you got to recognize it, release it, relax, refocus. I forget what the other 2 are right now. I'm drawing a blank, but it's like there's a whole process to how you recognize things that are kind of disrupting the flow and the cyclical nature of the exercise itself, and just trying to get back into that streamline of just my mind is clear.
Do you think that getting into your spiritual side has helped you for comedy?
Oh, for sure, dude. Because that's the other thing is not just the spiritual side. I'd say like mental wellness is 100%, because it's like, you've heard a lot of my jokes, man. A lot of them are kind of about like mishaps in bed, or like me being a combative person, or trying to like work on myself, and or like my flawed view of the world, and trying to come to terms with that. And I think that being able to look at myself as like a fickle and flawed person only has come as I've kind of strengthened my ability to reflect within myself. And I think that it only can do good for comics to be like, hey, this is how I'm fucked up. You know what I mean? And like, how can I, because there's comedy in that, dude. That's a human thing, is being imperfect. So
yeah. No, well, I meditate every day. I've been doing that for years. I freeball it as well. I don't do I don't do guided. I don't do anything. I just try and get silent. But it's difficult. I very rarely can go like for long periods of just nothingness. I get periods, short periods, and then it's just waves, and it comes through, and then silence, and then the thinking comes back, and it's just a constant battle of just letting it go. Yeah.
It is difficult, but I think that the thing about the waves, the thing about the cycles, and you have to find like an anchor that you can kind of draw yourself back into it. And if you have that, and you have like a method by which to tie yourself back to it, if you start drifting away into like thought land, you'll be able to do it for as long as you want.
So in your anchor is like a visual thing?
It depends. Sometimes it's a mantra about like just optimism, or like being in love with life, and sometimes it's like a collection, like a fucking collage of people who I care about, faces and shit like that. It's weird. It's weird to say.
No, it's not. It's not weird at all. It's not weird at all, man.
It's but if you have that thing, be it, words or an image or just a feeling, if you can lock into that, that's what will ground you. That's just, and again, I'm a babe in the woods. I am not a fucking.
No, I love it. I ask out of interest.
Yeah.
Because obviously, it's a shared interest. So, what's your plan for the future? You want to do obviously keep going with comedy. You want to be a working comic. Do you want to tour as well? Like, do you have a bit of a 5-year plan, a rough plan in your head? Or ideally, obviously, life never quite goes the way we hope, but
100%. I think this is something I wanted to bring up earlier was, I forgot to do it though, is I have a podcast.
Okay.
It's called On the Watch List with Jay Servedio. You can go check it out on Spotify or YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel, which is just Jay Servedio. And I like doing that. And it's something that I want to do weekly to kind of try and, work on my riffing abilities and keep that, so I'm constantly not in want of content. I figure out how to do that. I know this is more of like an interview show, and this is a fucking excellent platform, man. You're giving people the opportunity to not just share themselves, but, connect with an audience that they might not otherwise have.
Thanks, man.
And something else that I want to do is another thing that you've done is I want to write books. I love prose, man. That's something I've always wanted to do, and I have always written short fiction. So I'm currently working on a book right now. I don't really want to get into too many of the details, but
go.
I've got 2 chapters done out of what are going to be like essentially 15 kind of connected short stories.
Wow. Is it fiction or nonfiction?
It's fiction, yeah.
Okay,
it's,
cool.
It's fiction. And it's something that I've had in mind for a while, and I'm kind of chipping away at that.
How good does it feel to get it on paper finally?
Dude, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like coming. It really is. It's like there's no other way to describe it but other than like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like I've got the thing out in the open.
When I would write, I don't know about you, but I would just get the first brain blurt out when I was doing my book,
100%.
and then I would rip through it again and just do all the fixes, and then by the third time I ripped through it, it was usually pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Are you typing when you're doing your book?
No, I always
Everything's handwritten.
Everything's handwritten.
Wow.
And
why? Explain that to me.
So with comedy, it's because it's just like with comedy, dude, I have to. It's just that shit I have to. But with stuff like it doesn't make sense otherwise. Like I can't like boop, 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 funny with the typing. I don't know. But with prose and with screenwriting as well and playwriting, I do one draft handwritten, and then I either do a second draft handwritten or I do a typed draft. Wow. And while I do that, I go through my revisions because I cannot stream of consciousness if I'm like, you know what I mean? I have to I don't know what it is, if it's the fucking the mechanism.
You're not alone. A lot of people say that it rings truer when it's written by the hand. It's almost like the sword, you know? Like,
yeah, dude.
I don't know.
We're creatures of habit. And I think that there's something like the way the words, they don't matter. They do matter more. They matter more when you do this as opposed to just clicking a button.
Also, I've found my word economy is far better when I'm handwriting.
Oh yeah, because you have to do this.
Yeah,
it's not just
it's a fucking pain in the ass.
It's not click clack move, dude. But like that is the fucking thing. You're 100 like we said or word economy earlier. That is like any kind of writing, dude. Whether you're a fucking screenwriter, a comedian, a pod, like whatever the hell it is you're writing, you will be more brief and more blunt and to the point with your hand as opposed to like typing. It's just infinitely better. But that's 100%. I'm gonna fucking handwrite this first draft of all of the chapters, and then I'm gonna
That's crazy, dude.
I love it though, man. I really do. It's the way to go. So I mean, that's in the 5-year plans. Really is. I want to get the first one out by the spring of 2026. I want to get the second one out. It's not a series, just 2 different books by 2028, and then I want to have a special, be it a half hour, 45 minutes, or an hour. I'm not sure yet. Out on YouTube by next fall.
Nice.
And I'd like to be working as a comedian in the city by the same time.
Yeah.
Around the same time that I get the special out. And I mean, for sure, keep the podcast going, try and grow that. And then you ever use Substack? You're a writer. I feel like you should 100% get on this, man.
I haven't.
You know, you're familiar with the service? Or?
I am, but I know it exists, but I don't really know how I would go about making money through it or doing it. Because you essentially, there's all different styles.
Yeah.
You can do blogging, you can do like journalism, you can do whatever you want. And then you get people ideally to pay for a prescription to read it. And how would you do it as a comic?
Well, the weird thing is this, is like I'm still not exactly entirely sure what I'm doing. I have like 9 articles out right now, and I'm still like, I don't know what the vibe is. The first one was called like Never Forget What Exactly, and I wrote that about 9/11 and released it on 9/11 about like why we should stay out of like another conflict in the Middle East.
Oh, thank God.
But that's always where my fucking...
I'm very anti-war.
Yeah, same here.
Extremely. It's just absolutely absurd that we're doing that.
It never made any fucking sense to me, man. And you look at like the numbers, it's like, dude, people don't know this. 4.6 million people have died as a result of military intervention from the United States from 1980 to today. It's like, it's fucking crazy. And nobody talks about this shit. I mean, everybody's talking about it now, but it's like, and nobody talks about like the severity of the situation.
I feel like a lot more people are awakening to it.
Yeah.
A hell of a lot more.
100%.
Especially, it seems like a lot more people are becoming aware, like spiritually aware. There seems to be a lot of, a sort of almost like a global awakening happening.
Yeah.
Which is kind of undeniable, and it's not going to go away. More people are going to awaken. That's just the way that it's building up. So I do believe war will reduce eventually, but it may be a fucking crazy ride until we get to that point.
Fingers crossed, man. We just got to keep reminding one another that we're fucking human beings. You know what I mean? But the Substack is like, sometimes I'll do shit like that. I'll talk about that kind of stuff. And other times I'll be like, you know, I'll write about like the Rizzler, why I think the Rizzler is the Antichrist. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
What is the Rizzler?
The Rizzler is that fucking kid with the 17 cheeks who's like, you know what? He's like hangs out with the Costco guys.
He's gotten super popular.
I don't know who this
And
is.
no
He's been on Jimmy Fallon. He's been like on like wrestling pay-per-views. He was at like football games, like a Giants.
Show me a picture of this guy.
Dude, no disrespect to the Rizzler, for the love of God. Listen, I'm a Rizzler stan. It's a theory. It's a theory is all it is. But I talk about that, man. I sometimes I try and cope with.
He's like 10 years old.
This is funny.
And he's so viral. He was on Jimmy Fallon.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You got Fallon to do that face. You got Fallon to do that thing.
Ryan, he kind of looks like what you would have looked like as a baby.
Honestly, I looked uglier. But yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll talk about shit like that. My aunt passed away from brain cancer a while ago. I kind of tried to talk about that through humor. I tried to, I talked about me getting fired from my job, about like Joe Biden pardoning Hunter and shit like that. I've talked about like I went through like kind of a dark place a couple of weeks ago. I know I wrote a joke about like, if you don't remember my suicide joke, I did this at Judy's a little while ago about like, you know, I just got graduated from therapy. My therapist doesn't think I need like to meet regularly anymore. She thinks that I use the skills that we've worked on for a while so much that I don't need the constant care. But the problem is I still think about killing myself. So I'm thinking about going back for my master's right now. And it's, you know, it's kind of dumb, but I talked about like that in an article and shit. And it's kind of just it's a weird free-form blog that I have is like, this is the nonfiction prose version of my mind spilled out.
I should do that. Because that would suit me a lot.
Dude, it helps.
I journal every day, so it's almost like I could almost put my journaling on there.
Yeah, it's a great idea, dude. And I think like, especially for comedians, it's like, it just fucking gets shit out there. You know what I mean? I've got like, it's not big or anything. It's got like 15 fucking subscribers, but it's like, it's working and people are checking it out from TikTok when I post like the covers and shit like that. So, I mean, it works out. It's another thing. So I want to keep that going. I'd like to hopefully make a living off of that and the pod and maybe set up a Patreon sometime soon. But really that's all part of the, to weave it all together, as the incoming president calls it sometimes, is that's all kind of the 5-year plan, is just be able to make money doing the things that I love, is just consistency.
Well, you're going to get there, bro. I've no doubt about that. I mean, and you're putting all the little pieces of the puzzle in place, which is good.
I appreciate that, man. Seriously.
Yeah. So what did you think about the shooter, the CEO shooter?
I don't think it's him.
Oh, you don't?
Oh, no, I don't. I call me a conspiracy nut.
No, I love it. I haven't heard this before.
This is something I was going to talk about on my podcast, so here you go. This is a little teaser.
We got scoop.
But I think that this is very much not like some kind of class hero. I think this is like a warning. I think this guy was going to squawk when it comes to them being the incoming administration. I think Kennedy's going to start coming after a lot of these the medical industry guys, because companies like United Health have a monopoly on pharma. They have a monopoly on insurance. They have a monopoly on like employing doctors. Like they have like 2,700 doctors under their roster of payment.
Wow.
And one of the big things, if you read the press release, I'm a psychopath, by the way. I read the press release from the fucking conference that was supposed to happen.
I don't know. You're starting to make me think that RFK paid to have this man off.
No, well, that's what I was going to say, is I think Bobby's already been like, we're talking to people right now. And I think Brian Thompson, because he's been rejecting a shit ton of he's not in good standing with the American people. He was like, fuck, like the whole point of this investor meeting was about expanding value-based care. And anybody who works in the medical industry knows that value-based care is essentially a dog whistle for doctors from insurance companies. Value-based care, there's a whole Wikipedia page on it. You could look it the fuck up. It's a phrase that essentially means we're compensating doctors for providing care that aligns with us being the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies' values.
So it's absolute bullshit.
So it's basically paying people to prescribe vaccinations and which are fine, by the way, which are fine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I'm just saying they're paying people to do this and to prescribe certain medications as well. So
But that's not real medicine.
No,
it's
it's
not,
not.
fact-based medicine. That's just bullshit. I saw a stat last night. Per capita, Americans pay the highest out of any country in the world for healthcare. Double. They're more than they're double plus a little bit more than the UK.
And I think we're 40th in terms of overall health, right?
Your life expectancy is like 6 years less than the UK. So your per capita average life expectancy is 76. You pay like $13,000 a year per capita in healthcare. The UK was their life expectancy was about 82, and they're paying just under 6,000 per capita.
Yeah, the math.
So it is crazy, dude.
Oh yeah, and it's
And people need to fucking wake up to this shit. Like, it doesn't have to be this way. It can change.
But that's the thing is, like, I think that anytime somebody tries to do it, they fucking get a hand on that guy.
Yeah, but making profit off health is got to be like one of the most sourest things humans can do other than war.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just awful.
Well, I mean, I forget how many years ago it was. There's a quote, somebody for some fucking insurance executive a while ago said, like, the way we can keep making money is if we keep people sick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and like that is the American healthcare
I mean,
system.
look back at like Martin Shkreli, like, and like the way he would game the system and shit. Like, it's crazy that like the way America operates is people game the system and destroy the system until it gets to a point where it's not sustainable, and crazy things have to happen, and then things start to get a little bit fixed, but not fixed how it should. Because this is what happened with the real estate industry in 2008, and like the no. But what I'm saying is, like, it gets to this like inflection point, and then the bubble bursts, and then they put like a big piece of glue, or they put like a big like Band-Aid on the bubble, and they're like, we fixed it. And it's like, you made the bubble stop bursting. You didn't fix the problem.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. Dude.
So you think that it was a inside job from where?
No, I think that somebody from United Health put a hit out on this guy because they knew that he was going to talk about what they've been doing.
Gee, was he going to?
Robert
It's all
Kennedy.
speculation.
Yeah, it's speculation. But Robert Kennedy at some point is like, he's been like, we've already been partnering with some medical executives, and they're willing to work with us. And
Whistleblowers.
I think that he was
He
going
might have been a
to,
whistleblower.
you know.
That's what you meant by dog whistle. I haven't heard the term.
No. A dog whistle is so it's like, this is just the first example. A dog whistle is something that like a group of people, they hear a word, they know it means something than what other people hear.
Gotcha.
So like when a Republican's like, you know, music today is getting very urban, they're implying that, you know, there's a lot of black folks making music nowadays that are getting successful. You know what I mean?
It's like having a safe word.
Exactly.
Yes.
But like only your group knows what it means.
Gotcha.
So
It's like when they say like pre-owned car instead of used.
Yeah.
We all know it's used, but
it's
they say
pre-owned.
pre-owned sounds better.
So the thing is with the value-based care, that being a dog whistle, we all think that it's like, oh, you know, it's care that aligns with all of our values. But really it's like the care that they're providing aligns with the values of the insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies. So, I mean, really what's happening is it's just saying, we're paying you to fucking write prescriptions. Jesus. That's what that entails. And Kennedy's made it abundantly clear he wants to fucking crush that model of payment. I mean, ABC ran a whole fucking story. They ran one clip of Brian Thompson speaking. The one clip that it is him going, value-based care is the heart of the expansion of our business model today. And that was the only clip they ran. And when you look at the fact that Pfizer is the majority sponsor for primetime cable, especially ABC, you're like, oh, that is a fucking, like, keep your mouth shut. That's like them saying to people who are thinking about talking about shutting down value-based care. It's like, yo, stay the fuck low
awful.
and get back in line.
We could have a 3-hour podcast just on this.
I did not want to make this about this. I'm sorry.
No. I was saying, like, there's so much we can go into.
But Luigi's Mansion, funny name, right? Like, I always get suspicious when it's like, oh, we found the guy with the weapon, with the illegal silencer that he had, and we also found him with a manifesto detailing every single fucking thing that he was planning on doing.
Nice looking boy, so he couldn't possibly do it.
No, well, I don't know.
So if he
Also,
again,
there's also the 286 thing.
if he didn't do it, he's going to have a hit on him very soon.
Oh, yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing is I'm like, is this
He's going to
kid
die in prison.
Is this guy going to see trial? That's what I'm worried about. Because if he doesn't, he's a patsy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If it's somebody who's just, if he gets Jack Rubied, he's a fucking patsy. We know it for sure.
Yeah.
But you got to look into the 286 thing because 286 is like, he had 286 X posts, this kid, Luigi. He had the 286 Pokemon in the Pokédex as the background on his Twitter account.
What is that supposed to mean?
286 is the file, it's the code for when your insurance claim gets denied. That's the claim code, for the denial claim code for United Health.
That's all very convenient.
Yeah, right? So, I mean,
Does a kid think that deeply into?
Well, they're trying to be like, oh, look, this is fucking clear that he everything was coordinated, everything was, and they found him 286 miles away from the fucking shooting. That was the other crazy thing. Yeah, it's like, he planned everything. It's like, fucking no, he didn't, dude. Come on, this guy evaded the entirety of the FBI, the NYPD on a city bike, mind you. He threw away the backpack, but somehow kept a fucking 13-inch
People are stupid.
pistol rig in his pants on public transit in a fucking city bike. Get the fuck out of here, man.
I
I'm
will
sorry.
take credit that people are stupid.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to give like a 50% of people are stupid? So like some things don't surprise me when it's like, how are they able to get through all these people and get like across state lines? It's like, well, some people are stupid and give benefit of the doubt on it.
If we're going to sit here and not pretend that the entirety of the leadership of the FBI and the NYPD and everybody else, whoever else was on this fucking case is not an absolute retard, we're lying to ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of stupid people.
That being said, they have infinite amount of resource. I don't want to make the whole podcast about this. All I'm trying to say is you're smarter than that, America. And I know I am, and I know Cam is, and I know Ryan is as well. And Ryan, apologize for forgetting your name.
It was like our first time meeting.
I don't doubt it. I just think it. I mean, look at the shooter for Trump, the guy that was on the rooftop, and they knew he was there, and no one did anything for him. Like, get the fuck out of here, and no one says anything, and then it's not even like 2 or 3 days after, you hear nothing about it.
Not only
the guy nearly fucking died, and you hear nothing.
His house was fucking professionally scrubbed. Look it up. I mean, they're like, oh, we have no motive, we have no alibi, we got no fucking manifesto, we got nothing. That's a fucking fed. To me, I look at Thomas Matthew Crooks. He's not a fed. All of the manifest, all that shit, I look at that and I think to myself, Luigi is a plant and a patsy. I look at, they have nothing on this guy. I'm like, that's a fucking lone wolf. They got no explanation for fucking anything of it. And they're like, throw it under the rug.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Throw it under the rug. And the reason that I think that they're like, throw it under the rug is because I think that it was an exercise. They pulled the goalie, dude. They pulled the fucking goalie and they kind of let him wander. And they're like, let's just see where this fucking goes. You know what I mean? Like, let's see what he's got a rangefinder. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
You know,
and then they're like, oh shit. Oh.
Yeah. And again, I'm not a Trump supporter, guys. I need to be abundantly clear about this. I'm just calling him like I see him. You know what I mean?
That's fucking wild.
It is a little wild.
This country.
Oh, you dropped your MAGA hat, by the way.
Oh no.
This country is fucking insane.
Leave it next to my clan. No, I'm kidding, guys. It's all right. We have fun. We have fun. I'm black, actually. I just don't look it today.
Talking about the United Healthcare thing, it did get me thinking, Cam, you remember the night before that happened, we walked past that hotel.
Oh, we walked
past the Hilton Hotel, and you even looked at it like that Hilton Hotel is huge.
Is that where it was?
That was the hotel that you and me the night before walked past on the way to the Grizzly Pear, talking about how huge the Hilton Hotel was.
I've worked in that hotel. I used to work in trade shows. I've worked in that hotel hundreds. I know where I don't even know where all of the cameras are. I just know that there's more than the fucking 3 we saw angles from. Wow. And I'm like, you're fucking kidding me. First of all, another thing, the way that
he got from there without on a city bike, like, wow, that's
got out of. Well, because also
he didn't city bike out of Manhattan.
No, he didn't city bike
out of the bias.
Yeah.
But
he got
like,
somewhere
there
else.
would have been people on the street. That's a busy
Well, it was super early. It was like 5, 6 in the morning. So it was like early enough that I think that like.
How did he even know he was going to be walking out?
That's
well, this
where
is the
it gets
thing.
More.
That's the other thing. But that's what I'm fucking like. Hello. Like,
yeah.
How does it go to be there with the silencer?
Yeah, that's fucking insane.
And do you own a firearm? Do you own a gun? Do you own a gun?
No.
I own a gun. I own guns, right? And I've never in my life wanted to get a silencer. I know people are like, it's so easy to get these things. All you got to do is go to a gun show. And it's like, if a guy like him walked in and was like, excuse me, can I get one silencer, please? They'd be like, what the fuck are you doing trying to buy a silencer? They'd be like, get the fuck out of here.
Are they not easily?
They're not easy to procure in the metropolitan area.
You can get a gun. You can't get a silencer.
No, I mean, like, dude, and especially, like, first of all, the fact that, like, he didn't get the gun. He 3D printed the gun, right?
Yeah, it was a 3D print.
But he bought the silencer.
Yeah,
instead of 3D printing the silencer, why would he buy a fucking silencer and not just 3D print the silencer? The kid is a genius, allegedly a genius.
Explain this.
How can he know?
Explain this to me. He 3D printed.
You can 3D print the gun.
You can 3D print the gun.
What did he 3D print the gun for?
To go kill the fucking guy.
Yeah, the gun. He didn't buy the gun. He made.
The gun. It's called the ghost gun. There's no.
Yeah, you can get it. It's a thing called ghost gun. It's like a big thing. Like
You can just
in
get
this
a fucking
country, it's a
blueprint.
big issue.
3D print the gun.
You can get the
But is it
blueprint
metal or is it plastic?
Yes, it depends. It's
Yeah, it depends on what material you're using with your 3D printer, but it's usually like carbon fiber.
probably some inner parts of the lower are probably 3D printed, like the spring. That's 3D printed out of metal. You can probably get the spring and stuff like that online. But like the outside body, like if you're building a Glock per se, like that entire the outside of the body is going to be carbon, or that's going to be fucking plastic.
Yeah.
I'm not a terrorist. I promise, and I'm not planning on killing myself.
3D
I need to
printed
be
a
clear.
gun and then didn't 3D print a silencer.
No, he bought the silencer.
That's all. That's weird.
It doesn't make any fucking.
What did you think that you would 3D print a silencer and not 3D print the gun?
Yeah, you could just buy the gun and then 3D print the silencer. This is the thing that doesn't make sense to me, right? Is he had the manifesto, he surrendered himself to the police. Everything was coordinated that way. It's like, oh, he almost wanted to surrender himself. Then why make the gun? Why not buy a gun and then just I don't understand. None of it makes any fucking sense.
No,
when
I
you
get
think about this, dude. It's like,
so what would be the okay? So what if let's just say if he is Patsy, what would be like the benefit for him 3D printing the gun for the police if they were like planting this guy?
because they can just fucking hit him with a firearms charge if for whatever reason pinning him to the murder does not work. He's got an illegal firearm. He's got an illegal firearm. He's doing life in prison. That's life. You are fucked.
Because he printed it, it's illegal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if he purchased it legally, he's good.
He's good. No, not. I mean, then it would just be like, oh, this is the gun we have. Because here's the thing. This is the thing that people don't realize. Your gun has a fucking fingerprint. Everybody's gun. If your gun is a legal gun, it is a fucking fingerprint.
Yeah, because every shell has its own specific marking.
Exactly.
doesn't it? Yeah,
From the fucking the hammer hitting the fucking every single shell. They'd be like, oh, this is his gun in fucking Pennsylvania. You know what I mean? But this kid isn't fucking him. If they knew who it was, if he owned the fucking gun, they'd just be able to be like, that's that guy's gun. The fact that what I still can't fucking wrap my head around is, this is why I think he's a fucking patsy. I think they just planted a fake gun on this kid, or a 3D printed gun on him. Is that if it was registered to somebody's name and it wasn't a ghost gun, they could have found any guy and it would be out in the news. They'd be like, this is who we're looking for. This is the person of interest. But they've only been able to locate this guy based on photographs of his face that allegedly they got because he smiled at a lady in Starbucks or at a hostel or whatever the fuck it was. But he decided to buy he 3D printed the fucking gun. If you're planning on getting caught, just buy a fucking firearm. It saves you a lot of hassle. The materials alone to 3D print the gun are probably more expensive than fucking...
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, my brother's got 3D printers. They're not cheap.
No.
No.
The fucking materials to 3D print anything are cheap. And like the thing that I'm sorry, I keep saying they 3D printed the gun, but the thing is this: if he didn't have a 3D printed gun, they would not have been able to hit him with an illegal firearms charge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if you're transporting a pistol, it's real hard to fucking hit a guy with that if he's just moving with his gun somewhere. You know what I mean?
He's gonna get jacked.
No, dude, because I think that's why I think he's a patsy. With the illegally printed gun, with the ghost gun, if for whatever reason it's like, well, it's not clear, we can't 100% prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law because things aren't, if it comes out that things are not adding up and the patsy isn't really the fucking, and I don't think it's going to get to that point because he's going to get fucking shot anyway.
Yeah.
But they're going to investigate this and the whole
He's
thing.
gonna hang himself in prison.
100%. So with the 3D printed gun, in the event that he does not get whacked in prison, you can still throw the fucking kid away forever because of the illegal firearms charge. And if you listen to the news reports, they said the same thing. Before he faces the potential murder charge, before he faces the murder charge and faces the investigation in New York, he'll have to go through the illegal gun charge in Pennsylvania. That's what they're going to they're just going to throw the book at him with that, dude.
So do you think now that Trump's going to get in, do you think he'll release some of the, like...
Kennedy shit?
Kennedy, even aliens, even September 11, I mean...
No, they could never release September 11th. I think that's going to come out probably 70 years from now, just because there's too much about that shit.
Do you think there was fuckery involved in...
I'm not going to comment.
Yeah, fair enough.
I know it's a movie, but I fully believe that the book of secrets that a president has is real, that there's like maybe it's not a physical book, but I believe there is like a document of like, this is all of the information that like as a president, that like we've kept from people. I think there's something like that. There's not a physical book, but...
I think it's a movie. I think they sit you down and they're like, yeah, we did 9/11. We fucking killed Kennedy. And if you try to think about talking about it, we're going to do the same thing to you. So, no, that's a joke for all intents and purposes.
You'd think Trump would have put all that stuff out in 2016 when he was in office last time, or 2017.
I don't think he was going to, if I'm going to be honest. And I think that what happened was when the kid shot at him, regardless of whether or not he was with anybody, I think that he thought to himself, oh, they're trying to have me killed. They threw the book at me.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, if you look at the fucking legal proceedings, this is one of the most shittily run prosecutions in the history of the country. They had 4 things they could have hit Donald Trump with. They did not have to hit him with 90 fucking charges. If they hit him with election interference in Georgia, and that's all those 4 instances of election interference in Georgia, he would be in jail right now. He would be in jail right now, but they dropped the fucking ball.
Yeah.
They overdid it. And
that's why I talk about the stupidity. It's like there's a lot of people who are in their jobs who shouldn't be in their jobs.
None of that fucking worked. None of the killing the character shit. I mean, I no doubt Donald Trump is a fucking douchebag, but I'm saying like his voter base didn't care because you lied and gaslit the American people. And when they were like, well, but we can't afford food to feed our kids, people were like, yeah, but you're dumb and you're lying to yourself because the rich people can all afford to feed their kids. Here's a fun little exercise on everybody. When you're done listening to this podcast, go to NPR's On the Media and listen to the episode the day after. If you want to hear people realize nobody's listening to their podcast in real time, that is what that is. It is the fucking pinnacle of smarminess, and it is inexplicable how people were not able to realize, this is the elitist kind of media that's been pushing you are wrong about you not being able to feed your kids. It's now everybody's turned on Kamala Harris and everybody's turned on Joe Biden because it's like everybody's turned on the Democratic Party. Fucking Bernie's like, I'm going to honor fucking Robert Kennedy's coming into the government. I want to see it happen. You've turned everybody away at you because you just couldn't stop lying. They said they weren't going to fucking pardon Hunter. They did it. They said they were going to...
Hunter thing, I feel like that was like, it's way after the fact, so it doesn't even like matter.
It doesn't.
But it's people keep using that, and I'm just like, it doesn't matter at this point. Like, who gives a shit if he pardoned Hunter? Like,
look, I didn't vote for Trump, right? I couldn't stomach it. I get why people did it. And I don't disparage any fucking person who did it. And I'll tell you that's the truth. I always vote third party. That's just what my fucking values have been. And I live in a blue state. So me voting for Robert Kennedy, I'm like, that's not going to fucking take a vote away from anybody. You know what I mean? It's still going to be Democrat.
I'm really excited to see Robert Kennedy.
Me too, man.
I
100%.
think he's going to make some massive changes, which is what everyone needs.
That's the goal, man. Honestly,
healthy food, healthy country, and is he going to be in charge of the medical system as well?
so with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, the way that person operates, I don't know how
That's his role.
Yeah.
Okay.
The way that operates is that you really have a lot of fucking pull in terms of dealing with a lot of the 3-letter agencies like the FDA, the CDC.
Imagine how much corruption he's going to uncover.
It's going to
be disgusting.
Well, that's why I think that this hit was put out, which is, in my eyes, a hit. I'm like, the amount of shit that has been shoveled onto shit upon shit upon shit upon shit. So we're going to witness, if it does work out, we're going to witness an entire fucking system collapse in on itself. We're talking about 2008 real estate level collapse. It's going to be fucking wild.
Do you think that there's risk of like Robert Kennedy and Trump having hits on them as well now at this point? Or do you think it's just they wouldn't?
I mean, if somebody didn't kill Trump at this point, I feel
I don't know. If I'm going to be honest, I really don't. I don't know.
Do you think that they will release the JFK files?
That's oh God, I hate that I've become the conspiracy guy now.
No, I love it. I love it.
I think
Do you want your tinfoil hat?
Yeah, please. No, leave the MAGA one down. Please. No, just but in terms of the JFK files, I don't think Trump was ever going to actually plan on releasing them. And I think that Kennedy was going to take a lot of votes away from him. I thought Kamala was actually going to win this election. And I think that the only reason that Trump won is because he got the entirety of Robert Kennedy's voter base. And I think that in the swing states where people were probably going to vote for Robert Kennedy because they didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, who didn't like Kamala Harris, I think that was a huge win for Trump. And I think that what happened was he called Robert Kennedy the day after he got shot. Because if you look at it,
yeah,
it was very fucking soon after. I think it was less than a month that they joined forces.
So that there's going to be. Do you think so? You think now that Kennedy is in with his partnering with Trump, do you think it'll happen?
Well, the reason that I think that it's going to happen in the first place is because Trump got shot at and was hit subsequently. And I think that he called Robert and said, whether or not this is true, the people who tried to kill me are the same ones that killed your father and your uncle. And if you join forces with me, we will bring them to justice. And whether or not that is the truth or a lie, I think
we're going to have to wait.
Robert Kennedy believes that.
But why wouldn't they? They've had all this time to fuck around with the files, to have fake evidence. I mean, why? How do they even know there is even anything in those files?
Because there's 3,000 of them that still are not released. And you guys are probably like, how the fuck does Jay know all this? I consume about 26 hours of media a week from all sides of the political spectrum, just so that you guys know. So if you want to hear me kind of comment and riff about this stuff comedically, I do it on my podcast On the Watch List. I am socially liberal and fucking all intentions of the word. I just like punching up at the man and kind of kicking it.
Nice.
So being like, hey, you fucking lie to us all the time. Fuck you. I'm not going to, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat, I'm not going to let it fucking slide. So
no, you have a lot of good points. Like I feel like a big issue, like not just the RFK, I think it's a combination of RFK going to Trump and then the Democratic Party has just been a shit show.
It's been a shit show.
They're a shit show. They couldn't decide who was going to be running for president until 3 months
lied to their vote. Well, I think that's because I think that actually I think was a coup, if I'm being honest. I think that Joe Biden being kicked out was a coup, and I think that they were going to have an open primary. And I think that Joe Biden was like, you want to fucking get rid of me? That's fine. The next day, what does he do? I endorse Kamala Harris.
Yeah.
You can't just say we're not going to go with his endorsement. You got to fucking pivot. And I think he fucked them on purpose. I mean, dude, did you see what Jill Biden was wearing the day of the election?
Was she looking hot?
That's a subjective. It's a subjective question. But she was wearing a fucking MAGA red dress to the polls.
Oh, she was looking good.
His wife?
His wife.
That's hilarious.
His wife.
Well, I think the whole thing is Joe was like, I'm going to run for one term and that's it. And then he was like, nah, change my mind. I'm going to go again.
Well, I think that whatever they had him on, man, whatever cocktail they've had him on and shit, they did not, they sugar pilled him. They placeboed him before the fucking debate. And what's the big clip that came from that? I have no idea what he just said. I'm pretty sure he has no idea either, actually. And that fucking went viral. And people, dude, I remember again, I wanted Robert Kennedy on that fucking debate stage because I knew he would have, with facts and figures,
That
destroyed
would
the vote.
maybe been the funniest debate.
Because it's like,
Of like three people that are hard to understand.
Dan, it's like, fellas, please, I'm just trying to talk about this. And they're like, you're gay, actually. You're a gay retard. You're a sucker. You're a fucking sucker. I hate you. I hate you.
I'd probably like watch that at night before I go to bed. Like,
Not my proudest wank, if I'm being honest. It would not be my proudest wank. But no, for certainly, I think that there are some good things that are with every administration that comes in. I try to be optimistic about stuff, and I'm like, let's see what happens, because there are a lot of people. What makes me nervous is I see a lot of people who are like very hesitant to the fact that it's like, well, what's the deal with Robert Kennedy's war on food? Why does he hate food? Like, there's a press release from the CEO of Nestle, whose last name is Nestle, mind you, and the CEO of Smuckers, whose last name is Smuckers, mind you. And they're talking about, like, we're not scared at all. Literally, that's what they're saying. It's like, we're not scared at all. Americans love to snack. That is a fuck you. You are a fat pig. Tim Dillon talked about this in his podcast. He's going to say it a lot more eloquently than I did. Give that a listen. But I look at that and I'm like, that is an affront to the American people. And I think that they are scared, and that's the only reason that they're fucking saying it. Same thing with all the pharmaceutical companies. Same thing with all the insurance companies. The FDA historically has been a carousel. It's been a carousel. You come work for us, you get a job at Nabisco. You get a job at Nestle. You get a job here, there, and all over the place, dude. And that's every single fucking industry.
yeah.
And it's like, I think we're going to, I just want to see what happens. Do you guys pay attention to Supreme Court cases at all, or not really?
A little bit.
Do you know about the Chevron deference case that got overturned with Loper Bright, or no?
Give us the smart.
So Loper Bright versus EPA was a Supreme Court case. I am a psychopath, guys. I apologize.
You got 1 minute.
Okay. And basically what happened was this company sued the Environmental Protection Agency because they were kind of subjugating them to penalties that have no legal standing. Chevron deference was this Supreme Court case that happened in the 80s, and it basically gave all of the legislative power that the agencies needed, unelected agencies. It gave them that power to do whatever they need to do to do shit, and it got overturned by the Supreme Court case this year. So we'll see what's going to happen this year.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Jay, so give us some plugs. You got, what's your Instagram?
So my Instagram, guys, is the same thing as my TikTok. It's at the real Jay Servedio. Look at the description for how to spell it. It's a lot of vowels. A lot of vowels. And check me out on YouTube. It's at Jay Servedio. It's the same thing. And I got a podcast on Spotify and YouTube. It's called On the Watch List with Jay Servedio. Every week, within 20 minutes or less, I try to get through as many news stories as possible. I give it a little bit of a comedic twist, and I try to keep it $1.50 with you, America. Follow me on Substack as well, at Jay Servedio, and my articles there are under the blog Tome of a Ramblin' Mind. I'd be more than happy to have you guys come by, and specials coming soon, I guess, in a year.
Hell yeah, man.
Yep.
Well, congrats on everything so far. You're absolutely killing it.
Thank you, man. You are too.
And it's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure, brother. Seriously.
See you on the road.
See you on the road.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to this episode of Going After It with Cam Bird. Produced by Ryan Rizzuti and music by the very talented Brian Rigby. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe, and remember to hit that notification bell. Take care, everyone, and if you can, get after it.